I think he will. I think he will be interested. And well, it's obviously the early stages at the minute. We're led to believe kind of tentative discussions have taken place, but now, seeing how it's developed in the last kind of 24 hours, I'd be surprised if Danny Rohl's taking Rangers for pre-season.
And Keith, you can see in the comments there that are coming through, Scott says Rangers hopefully have someone lined up. Another thing that we talked about in the hotline recently, look, one of the names that would have to come into consideration would be Derek McInnes.
Yeah, I will point out to producer Henrik that we're still struggling here for any kind of volume, but because you're only 20 yards away, I just about made that out. Derek McInnes, you're asking about Derek McInnes, Daniel. Well, I think a lot of people are asking about that name. From what I hear, rumours are circulating back home, certainly in Glasgow, that Derek McInnes is the likely candidate. I think he's probably one of a couple of likely candidates. And I don't think there's anything particularly revelatory here. Steven Gerrard was a guy that Andrew Kavanagh fancied. Steven Gerrard didn't take the job, despite what anybody else might tell you. Didn't take that job because he identified Kevin Thelwell as a problem, an insurmountable problem and an obstacle. Kevin Thelwell, of course, was one of the early casualties. Again, I'm not going to say that I'm Nostradamus here, but I did say things would get worse for Rangers under Andrew Kavanagh before they would get better. I was talking specifically about some of the people that were in and around the decision-making centre, and Kevin Thelwell in particular. Steven Gerrard took a look under the bonnet, saw Kevin Thelwell's face looking back at him and said, nah, no thank you. That isn't an issue anymore. You can only imagine that Andrew Kavanagh is every bit as keen on Steven Gerrard today as he was back then, unless something went horribly wrong in the discussions. But I think Steven Gerrard versus Derek McInnes, that feels that feels very much like where it's at just now, unless there's a blindside run from somebody that we're not anticipating. Steven Gerrard would be a little bit easier given that he's not in a job. But Derek McInnes, I don't know. I actually wonder sometimes, and Hearts fans will be tearing their hair out even at the thought of us having this discussion. But you do wonder, Tony Bloom's model at Brighton is managers are almost expendable. It's the system that works. It's the data that works. It's the analytics. It's Jamestown. And I wonder if Tony Bloom would be ultra resistant to anybody coming for Derek McInnes. Because I think he just believes, well, if we lose him, we'll just get the next one, and there's always the next one in the block.
As long as the money's right.
As long as the money would be right. And of course, Rangers would need to pay I don't think there's any break. I don't think he's got the Lawrence Shankland term in his contract.
Well, it's funny you should mention Shankland, Jackals. One thing I wanted to say, Daniel, was it was just a wee thing, but to me it was quite interesting. The Rangers signed Lawrence Shankland a couple of weeks ago now for Hearts. I know he doesn't officially sign until 15th of June, something like that. But I said at the time, actually messaged a couple of pals, I thought it was interesting. Lawrence Shankland's interview with Rangers TV, I think, was 6, 7, 8 minutes long. Not a single mention of Danny Rohl in the interview, which, I don't know, listen, maybe I'm kind of clutching at straw. I thought it was bizarre that a new striker signed, Scotland centre forward for one of your big rivals in the league. A huge signing for Rangers when you look at the kind of context. And there was not a single mention to the manager, nothing, no questions about, have you spoken to Danny Rohl? No, has he told you what his role might be? How much are you looking forward to working with Danny Rohl? Absolutely nothing, not a single mention. That to me was strange. And now, when you see how things are developing, Danny Rohl could be leaving. Just wonder, I mean, what was Lawrence Shankland even a Danny Rohl signing? No, I think that's in doubt.
They seem to be putting a lot of significance into the list of signing targets that was drawn up by Barry Ferguson 12 months previous. Listen, I'll go further than that, right? I thought it was outrageous that Danny Rohl, okay, it was the end of the season and people go on their holidays. If you're the Rangers manager, and I know they call him head coach because they try and diminish the importance of the role, but if you're the Rangers manager, or head coach, if you want to call yourself that, and you make a sort of marquee signing, which in the Scottish context, that's exactly what Lawrence Shankland is. He's a marquee Scottish signing. The manager, I don't care where in the world you are. I don't care if you're in the Caribbean. I don't care if you're somewhere in Europe. I don't care if you're just back home in Germany. You get in a plane, you explain to your wife, I cannot not be there for this. So I'm going to have to jump in a plane, get back to Scotland, 24 hours.
Which is your job, to be fair.
24 hours, and I'll go back. It was left to Dan Purdy to walk Lawrence Shankland around. That to me was, well, you know how I felt. I had reason to believe that something wasn't quite right. And when I saw that, I just thought, I'm not sure. Either this guy is just kind of protecting himself in the bubble of, well, I'm only first team coach anyway, or there was something more to it. And I found it inconceivable that you make that signing and that the manager doesn't have his boots on the ground to welcome him into the club, to be there for the press conference, the whole bit. And I think that points to kind of what I was hinting at towards the end of last season, that even when Rangers said he would be here at the start of next season, I was never convinced. I didn't believe that would be the case.
So the very last thing on Rangers, guys, do we anticipate this is going to go through? I know I'm asking you how long a piece of string is, but what's your thoughts?
I think it will. My gut feeling is it will. No, the stories have emerged for Austria, Dan. Obviously for the Salzburg, and the word is that they want Danny Rohl. They want it done pretty quick. I even seen some talk online today about Jurgen Klopp might be behind it, and he's keen on Danny Rohl to get at Salzburg. So I'd be really surprised if this doesn't happen now. I know Rangers are staying silent on it at the minute, but there's no smoke without fire, and I just get the feeling you just get a kind of whiff that something's happening, and for all the reasons we've spoke about, as I say, I'd be surprised if Danny Rohl's in charge at Rangers at the start of the season.
Let me be cynical, if I can be, for a wee second, because you've been doing this for long enough and you kind of get a wee feel for it. I'm telling you right now, somebody behind the scenes is pedalling furiously to try and get something to happen for Danny Rohl. That's with the two German clubs, Wolfsburg, forget the other one, Leverkusen, that's right. Now you've got this. That tells me that someone is very, very active behind the scenes, trying to join the dots, trying to put something together. And that's another reason for me to believe that I'll be actually surprised now if Danny Rohl is still at Rangers. And I think this could happen in the next couple of weeks. I'll be astonished, in fact, if Danny Rohl is the Rangers manager at the start of next season.
Time will tell, I guess.